Yo, Laurent,
What's going on?
how is your how's your second team doing?
Second team? Who's my second team?
Arne Slot. Na 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 na.
That's crazy because I thought Arsenal was my second team.
No, bro, you're fucking you love the Reds. You love Liverpool. How you
Arsenal's
doing,
red too,
bro?
no?
How you doing, bro? I just want to do a check up on you. See how you're doing. How you doing after that week, Chelsea beat Copenhagen, Liverpool. Can't say the same thing about Liverpool, but how you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, man. I'm fantastic because I know there's an ass whooping coming this Sunday.
Oh, fuck. An
So, but
ass
we gonna
whooping.
talk about
Oh,
that later. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that later in the podcast.
oh,
So,
the penalty merchant that can't score penalties anymore. There's an ass whooping. Interesting. Mm,
I mean, shit. At least we got a
mm,
merchant, bro. Y'all
mm.
got Ghost.
We got Ghost that just fucking bagged 9 goals against PSV. Wait, what league are you? CJ, can you remind me what league Chelsea's in for the Europe? I don't remember. Is it even televised? I don't
It
think
is.
it's
It's definitely
televised.
televised. It is definitely televised, bro. And that fourth European trophy is gonna be hella televised, man. Uh-huh.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
fuck.
Yeah.
Well, let me just hit you with some stats that you can't debate. Arsenal overall versus Chelsea have won more games in the history, like head to head. Arsenal's won 83 times to Chelsea's 66, and we've drew 61 times. So I don't know what ass whooping you're talking about. Like, just just remember there's different levels to like London clubs. There's Arsenal, and then there's you know like
Okay.
like just want just
Oh, so there's levels to this.
there's levels to everything, bro.
Okay, 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 okay. All
Mm.
right. So, yeah, I mean, now that you mentioned that, right?
Oh,
I gotta.
here comes the CJ. He's gonna say, "Well, now that you mentioned that, has Arsenal won a European championship before?"
Well, I mean, if there's levels, I assume, right?
Mm,
You gotta show me, like what's this level you're talking about, right? Like,
just
you know?
I'm just making a I'm just making a factual statement, just as you are
Uh-huh.
making a factual
I, I,
statement.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree, right? There's levels, but when, right? Levels, and then there's European, right? Championships. So
Mm.
I know we played on that level before,
Of
right?
course, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
So have Arsenal.
You guys have?
Yeah, we played on that. You're talking about us playing on that level, playing in a Champions League final with this
No, 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 no,
legend
no,
on
no,
my
no, no, no.
chest.
You
No,
see,
but that's how you
see,
that's what you said. That's what you
no,
said though.
that's not what I'm trying to say. That's not what
Oh,
I'm trying
okay.
to say. And the fact that you think is what I'm trying to say is what's wrong with the Arsenal club. Is that
No,
you
no,
guys
no,
think
no.
that participation is an accomplishment. No, what I'm saying we played on a level I mean, we went there and we took the trophy back home.
Just
So now I'm
because,
asking
listen,
you,
the difference
did
is
you guys do the same thing?
you have to be articulate. What I've learned in my line of business is you have to be articulate and specific. You can't leave room for gray.
Now you want
It has to be
no,
black
now
and
you.
white. Bro,
All
I
right, all
told
right,
you,
all right, all right,
bring
all
the
right.
fucking energy today, bro. Liverpool got their booties clapped by PSG. Nuno Mendes destroyed Mohamed Salah. Like, where has anyone seen Salah over the last two legs of this? The man doesn't even know how to kick a ball.
Honestly, I agree with that. I agree with that. I even told CJ earlier on this week. CJ is actually giving the guy an excuse because he's been performing so well over the
And
course of
I'm
the season, which he has an argument for that he
he
goes missing in one game, but or two games if you could say that. But my counter argument to that is that well, it's a big game. You know what I mean? That I don't think you were allowed to go. You have
that's
the
what I'm saying,
leeway to
dude.
kind of
Like
go missing
I'm
it.
not trying to be an asshole in saying that. I even told my cousin he's a huge Liverpool fan.
Mm.
I said like to me, it's genuinely shocking. Like it was genuinely shocking to watch that game and watch how Salah couldn't do anything. He had a couple opportunities here and there, but because it was like on a missed kick, it was like against the grain of the play and stuff like that. Like to me, I was like, is this like what is going on right now? Because
Right,
usually
right.
Salah wakes up for these games and he's the one who gets them over the line. But Nuno
For
Mendes,
real.
oh my God. He like right now he's arguably one of the best wing backs in the world with the way that he just performed. Like I don't know what else to say. Especially left backs. Like there's Alfonso Davies, that's out there. Andy Robertson with his offensive play, but like Nuno Mendes, oh my gosh.
Cucurella, Cucurella.
Yes, I got it on that.
What did you
Yeah,
say?
man.
Sorry, there was some static. Say that again. I can't hear you.
Oh, you want me to repeat it?
Yeah.
Cucurella.
Are you choking
Yes,
on your
that's
gum?
crazy.
Nah, man.
Oh,
Listen, I'll
anyways.
say it a third time if you want to, and then we'll see if that static is really the
Anyways,
problem.
like again,
But
CJ, we're talking about levels, right? CJ, we're talking about levels. Like we're talking about Zinchenko, Cucurella, Calafiori, Miles Lewis Skelly, Kieran Tierney. Those are true left backs. I don't know who this cuckoo person is.
Cucurella has 4 goals, right? I think four, yeah, 4 or 5 goals in the Premier League,
Oh, okay.
I
Good for him.
believe. Yeah, for the season.
Good for him.
Yeah, and under this, I mean, shit, like y'all got left back scoring, scoring at that rate, and then defending, doing the defensive work rate on the other end.
Yes. Like you're talking
And
about left
okay, so
back.
name me
Listen,
no, no,
you're
no.
talking about left back
In the
FC.
Premier.
That's
All
the
right, so give me
dumbest.
names.
That's the dumbest argument.
Give me,
We played
give me
five
names.
left
Give me
backs last
names.
night. What are you
I
smoking?
need give me names. Give me
Hold on. I'm
names.
gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna fact check myself. I just
All
want to
right,
give you.
all
I
right.
want to give you.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
so Kukurea
yeah,
for
yeah. Tell
for for, for the
ChatGPT to
listeners.
put some respect on that. Yeah.
No, there's no ChatGPT, bro. So Cucurella plays 26 matches, 4 goals, 1 assist, 7 yellow cards. 26 matches. Okay. Lewis Skelly, let's see. He's only play. Oh, that's no. I don't want to see Champions League, bro. What the frick?
Well, you said 26 matches for this season, and you said one
26.
goal.
No, 4 goals.
Okay, okay, yeah. And
Okay.
then
Um,
seven yellow cards. You said.
7 yellow cards. So Lewis Skelly, 13 appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist,
Okay.
half the games. And then who else do we have? Ricky Calafiori. Let's see. Calafiori, how many games? He's had 17 appearances, 2 goals,
Okay.
still less games, still having output. Um, why are you laughing, bro? It's facts. I'm speaking facts.
No, I
Less
know,
games.
but it's the fact that you like to just you always find a way to embellish things.
And
That's what I
how?
like.
Whoa, whoa,
You,
whoa, whoa! How am I embellishing? I'm just stating facts.
17 games, yeah, 2 goals, yeah, it's not four. Two's not four, right?
Well, I'm glad that you passed grade 1 math and that you know that
Uh-huh.
2 is not 4.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, fuck. Anyways, welcome back. Welcome back, as always. Joined by my co-hosts Laurent and CJ.
Yo.
Um, as you guys already know, if you're watching us on YouTube, there's two of us that I like to represent our team that are true fans, and there's one of us that would rather use a Febreze bottle to represent his team, um, the blue team, Chelsea United. Was it
So I
Chelsea
watch what
United?
I watch him play. I watch
Mm.
him play. And I would never dare say that if my team was in X competition, I would not watch the games.
Who said that? Who was recorded in saying that? Who said that?
No?
Please enlighten me. Who said that?
Oh, who said that?
Yeah, who said that?
Don't worry, don't worry. As we keep recording, it will come to light as to who said that. You know?
Hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah, so just make sure you're on point now from when that record button is there. Like, saying Zoom recorded, right?
Bro, it's been recording for the last 10 minutes. I don't know what you're talking
No, no,
about.
no, no. I'm not talking about specifically this podcast. All right. For the podcast I follow after this, right? Because
Oh, oh,
yeah, yeah.
oh,
Make sure you're on
oh,
point.
oh.
Make sure you're on point. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Okay. Anyways, let's get on to the real European Cup tie, the Champions League, where Arsenal annihilated PSV. We played five left backs in our starting lineup. 9-3 on aggregate. We didn't win the game. We drew it 2-2. Um, we got to start where we were. We got to start at only one place. Raheem freaking Sterling. Um, I think
Listen,
I
man,
think
I'm not surprised.
I think apologies are due after this performance. Just this performance. Um, and I don't know whether it's because PSV just gave up, knowing that they lost, or what, but he still took his opportunity, popping up with two assists. Um, I don't know, CJ, what do you think? Like, do we owe Sterling an apology? Do we like that was a great performance by him. I'm actually I'm happy for him to get out of the doghouse and actually um, pop up with some contributions because I think it's been a tough time for him at Arsenal, straight up.
Hmm. Laurent, why are you not surprised?
I mean, on the other side, right? Connor, sorry, not to sidetrack to another game, but we had Gallagher scoring the only goal, right, for Atletico Madrid. So these are Chelsea products, you know, going out there performing on the world stage, right? From our social recycling bin that people like to disrespect. But when it's time for these guys to, you know, play on the big stage, right? They can definitely put up a performance. So that's why I'm saying I'm not surprised, right?
To be fair, well, I'll give you Gallagher because he came out of the academy, but Raheem Sterling came out of Liverpool's academy, so I don't know where you were going with that.
Still a Chelsea player.
You got to
When you
fact
guys no
fact yourself before
no no
you.
no 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 I'm saying it in the sense that when you guys refer to, oh, why are we taking Chelsea's right from Chelsea's recycling bin? That's what I'm trying to say, is that
Oh
he
yes,
came from our,
Raheem
yeah.
Sterling is the recycling bin of Chelsea.
No, so
Chelsea
that's what
didn't
I'm
even want him.
no, but that's what I'm referring to, is that, you
Oh,
know,
oh,
player
okay,
that came
okay,
from
fair enough.
Chelsea.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not saying he was homegrown, right? In
No. But I mean,
yeah.
you brought up Conor Gallagher, and he is genuinely homegrown. So, but anyways,
Yeah. So yeah,
it's
back
gonna be a
to CJ.
spicy podcast, listeners.
Yeah, man,
It's
I'm
gonna
ready.
be.
I'm ready.
Yeah, honestly, Laurent, you might be the only Chelsea fan that claims him, to be honest.
Eh, It is what it is, man. It is
It's
what
because
it
I
I'm
is.
sitting
respect it.
here.
I'm just saying, hearing you defending him and talking about him right now, I'm like, yo, you're the only Chelsea fan that probably like even something remotely close to claiming him. Like, bro, if Chelsea fans had the option not to take him back, there's no way they'd take him. You know, I'm so happy we get to send him back to you guys. Like, again, respectfully, he's had a great career, but if you're talking about guys performing and showing up on the world stage when it's time, I mean, bro, we played PSV at home with nothing to play for. Like,
Still the
you
Champions
know,
League. Like, I mean, you know what I
okay,
mean?
yeah,
Like, it's a Champions League
no,
game.
man,
That's a big game. No matter how you look at it, how you slice it,
stop
that's
this,
Yeah.
stop this, please,
But
stop this,
wait.
to
So
be
what are you
please.
telling me? What
to
are you
be
telling
fair,
me? That's
CJ. Wait,
it's
hold on. I'm gonna support you
okay.
on this, Laurent. Sorry to cut you off. I'm gonna support you on this. To be fair to Raheem Sterling, he played in Carabao Cup games. He played in FA Cup games against lesser opponents. And yes, I understand PSV had nothing to play for, but we're talking about like a Wednesday night game. And when he played against lesser opponents, he did jack all. That's my only thing. Like he it was almost like he took the last game where tyranny came on over him and the camera kept, flashing to him and you could just see his face. I think he took that very personally. And it almost like he was playing with some form of vengeance. Whether or not do I think that he can keep this up against like a tougher opponent? I know we got like Liverpool to play. I think that's one of our only tough opponents coming up. But yeah, I don't think he can keep that. But like, if he played against the likes of Chelsea, another weaker opponent like PSV, I think he could pop up for another two assists.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment. I mean, damn, you can tell Mehrdad is having the time of his life there. Like I said, come Sunday, right? We'll see if he's all smiles,
Oh,
or if it's
shit.
another day of mourning, like it was 2 weeks ago, I believe. But yeah, no. I do think that off the back of this performance, well, we hope. I think all of us do hope, especially now that there's I think we're down to two English teams in
Yep.
yeah, in Champions League, two German teams, and I think two Spanish teams, one Italian team, something like that,
Ye- One Italian team, two German teams, two
and two
Spanish,
Spanish. Yeah,
one French. Yep, you're
yeah,
bang
one
on
French.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point, right, for me, it's I'm going for both Villa and Arsenal. So I do hope that that performance that he put up, right, that he's able to sustain that.
CJ, I really want to
Yeah, he
ask.
played so well. He played so sorry. He played so well that he got himself not sorry, basically not sent off, but he got himself out of the first round of the game against Real Madrid. That's how well he played with that stupid ass tackle. So just as he's picking up form and momentum, the guy goes and does something stupid, another boneheaded play that gets him out of the Real Madrid game because for those who don't know, he accumulates red, yellow card accumulation. Sorry,
Mhm.
means that he went into this game knowing that if he were to get it booked, he's out for the first round of the first leg of the Real Madrid tie in the quarterfinals. And
Which
lo
is
and
at
behold, late in
home.
the game,
Yeah.
lo and behold, late in the game, stupid tackle, and gets a yellow card, which arguably could have been a red, by the way. And yeah, he's out of the first leg of the Real Madrid tie. And I mean, not that we would have need him or used him anyways, because like
Ouch.
look,
Ouch.
man, you guys, you can say all you want. Like the guy's just not been good enough. And this is, I'm sorry, I stand by it. It's a game at home against PSV when the game doesn't mean anything. He's been here since the beginning of the season. It's now March 13th, and you guys are talking now about how he finally had a good game yesterday, and he show up. Has Raheem Sterling arrived? None of this nonsense, bro. I'm not having it. Like I said, it's March 13th. Our season is on the brink of being over if we don't do something in the Champions League. And it's too little, too late as far as I'm concerned. He showed up yesterday when the stadium was a library, it pretty much empty. The only noise came from the PSV fans, and he finally showed up. So kudos to him. But do that against Real Madrid, and then we can talk. Oh wait, you can't play against Real Madrid in the first leg because yellow card accumulation, and he also can't play this weekend against Chelsea because he's
He's on loan.
that's his parent club, so he can't play in the Prem. And yeah, so he's going to be on holiday for another 3 weeks. So by the time he comes back in the second leg for Real Madrid, when we need him, let's see if he, this form maintains. But yeah, man, I'm one of those who's not really having it, with him. I just let the rest of the games kind of go by, and we'll send him back to Chelsea on speed dial on the Amazon Prime next day delivery.
I do want to take a moment and just pick your brain about something that you and I talked about for the last I want to say year or two seasons when Zinchenko came to Arsenal, when we knew that he was not the best defensive left back, and there were games, especially against
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool, that I recall, even City, that we were saying, okay, there's a gap in the midfield. Why don't we use him there? And I know last podcast we were talking about how Martin Odegaard's been struggling and stuff like that. And again, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that against Real Madrid, plays Zinchenko over Odegaard, but when we have a Premier League game, when you see Odegaard struggling, why not play Zinchenko? He does that for Ukraine, and against big opponents like Zinchenko holds his own. You know, um, I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are. Am I stretching when I say something like that? Am I wrong for saying that? I know he probably is on his way out, but if we end up keeping him, like why not? Why not try him? Why not try him there? If you're not going to play one year and you want to potentially, if Saka comes back and we can play a front three of Martinelli, Saka, one year, and you can have them constantly rotating against Madrid's back line where um, outside of Mendy, like they're a little bit slower, right? Valverde sometimes plays as one of the wing backs. They're a little bit slower and they don't have Alaba. They don't have Danny Carvajal. So but against some of the Premier League teams, why not try it? I don't know. What are your thoughts? Am I stretching when I say something like that?
What specifically Zinchenko in midfield?
Yeah, like playing as that right eight because he's a left footer too, like
Mm.
Odegaard.
Yeah, yeah. No, honestly, like when he first came to the club, that's where a lot of us felt he was going to play because, it's one thing to play left back in Pep's system, but, it's a completely different thing to play in outside of that. Pep has mastered, Pep has done some crazy things. He's played Fabian Delph, if you remember him, at left back, and they won the league with Fabian Delph at left back. I remember one game specifically against us. He played Bernardo Silva at left back. Like that's just how crazy the guy is, and that's how his mind works. He can do all kinds of innovative things on the field, and Arteta needs to get away from trying to model that Pep style a little bit. And I understand he came from that school of thought and whatnot, but yeah, to think that Zinchenko was going to come to this team and be our long-term left back just because he did it at Man City, like that's not how it works. It was never really going to be a thing for me. I was expecting, like a lot of us were expecting that when he came to the club, he was going to be a midfielder. Definitely used there more than he has been, and we haven't seen it much. But yeah, I 100% like you're spot on. Like that should be and should have been since he's been here. That should have been an option that we utilized more often, especially as Odegaard has been struggling. Now,
And when he
obviously,
was
I'm going to keep the
injured.
same energy. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Crazy. You said
And I
Odegaard,
was
but
going to say,
we
I'm
introduced
going to.
Sabrina Carpenter. Yeah, sorry.
Jeez, 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 jeez. For those who don't, we have to provide context. Okay, we have to provide context. For those who don't know, there's this meme going around. There's been all kinds of memes flying around this week in the football world, but there's one specifically where some fans who shall remain nameless, who are asking for Odegaard to be stripped of captaincy and to be given to Declan Rice, which I don't necessarily disagree with. I think that Declan Rice and Gabriel should be our captains, but the quote specifically was, "Take the armband off Sabrina Carpenter and give it to Declan Rice." Now I'm not sure why we're calling him, Sabrina Carpenter of all people. I don't know. Do you guys think he looks like her? Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if it's the height. I don't know if it's the lack of, character. I don't know what it is. It's a little harsh. It's a little harsh in my
I
opinion.
just pulled up Sabrina Carpenter's.
You what?
He does not look like Sabrina Carpenter, so I don't know where the fuck this came from. What
Like
the hell?
somebody just said that. Oh, like two blondes, relatively same build, maybe. No, the guy looks like he's small and scrawny. I don't know, man. I don't want to diss
Yo,
our
same
captain.
build is crazy. Like,
That's
what?
fucking hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Mehrdad, you didn't see that one in the group chat this week?
No, maybe I missed it, but that's fucking hilarious. But like, listen, if they give it to Declan Rice or Gabrielle, I think you and I are on the same boat. Yes.
Mm,
Yes, please.
yeah.
Yes.
Anyways, I'm
Um,
gonna go back to finish what I was saying about
oh,
Zinni
sorry.
real
Yes, yes.
quick. So basically, no. So basically, with that, the I want to keep the same sort of energy that I had with Sterling, and not get too hyped about Zinchenko's goal yesterday, because albeit it was against PSV, right? Um, but it was a class goal because it's like, yo, Odegaard doesn't do that often this season. Where's that been? This guy scores a rocket outside the 18. We're talking about left backs, oddly enough, in this podcast scoring goals. Like, damn, Zinchenko, that was a banger from outside the 18. And no matter who the opposition is against, when you can score like bangers from outside the box, left peg in the bottom corner, you got to give it up to him. The one thing that he doesn't have that Odegaard will have, and I think he said this in a post match presser or a post match interview. One thing he doesn't have that like an Odegaard has, or that a Declan Rice has, is like the work rate and the energy. Like he
Yeah.
can't keep up and do the running. He can't do the high press the way those guys do. The guy's already got weak calves. Like he'll pull his calf muscles if he tries to high press the way those guys do. And I think he literally came out and said that afterwards. Like, I don't know how
Yeah.
those guys do it. That running in midfield. It's a lot of work in an Arteta system. It's all about the off the ball work as well, right? And that's why someone like Ozil couldn't play in Arteta's system, because yeah, it's great what you do on the ball, but off the ball, that's our first point of defense, and is our our number 10, as our midfielders, right? Our Odegaards, our Declan Rice, and those number 10 or high 8 positions, they're first to press, the back line, the goalkeeper. So Zinchenko doesn't have necessarily that pace to get about the pitch to to high press, but on the ball, there's no doubting his quality. And I think like an option late in games too, if Odegaard is having a stinker or whatever, even to play alongside an Odegaard for that extra creativity in the midfield,
Mhm.
Zinchenko would be good, because there's not many who can, split the lines and break a line of
Yep.
defense the way Zinchenko can.
Especially against low blocks, right? Especially if we're playing against a low
Mm.
block team. So no, you're bang on right, and we'll get to the Madrid breakdown. I think during the international break we'll do a full breakdown of that head to head. First leg's going to be obviously at the Emirates. Second leg's going to be at the Bernabeu. Um, I mean, there isn't really much to be said. We're facing arguably one of the best teams in European football over the past, I don't know, however long we've all lived. They just have a class about them that Arsenal needs to,
And a 12th
unfortunately,
man, some would say. Sorry, I just
yeah,
had to throw
yeah,
that in
and
there.
Jeez.
I
I
think
mean, that's the
Arsenal need to.
elephant in the room
Sorry,
for the
say that
whole
again.
footballing world, right?
Sorry, say
I'm
that
saying
again.
that's the elephant in the it's the elephant in the room for the whole football world, right? And that 12th man, right?
Mm.
Even when you look at it historically, I think, right? A lot of people say that they've had the refs in their favor with certain decisions, big games,
Them and Barca, yeah.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
So
yeah, I mean, listen, there's fixing matches has always been there. Um, do I think that Barca and Madrid have never done that? No, because if a team like Juve got caught, I wouldn't be shocked. But it still doesn't take away from the class players that they've always had. I don't necessarily want to take away from the fact that they had the Galacticos and they're building the Galacticos again. And they just always find a way, right? Um, sure, maybe they have, had favorable calls. Okay, but like you earn those favorable calls. You like Arsenal has been, now that we're starting to play a little bit better, we're getting some calls go our way. To be like, I'm being real. Like if you think about it, when Arteta first took over, again, this year is one of those odd years, but like any type of tackle Xhaka would do would be a straight red. Wouldn't even be like, there would be zero, it'd just be a red card. But now they're understanding that we're making tactical fouls. Whereas like Man City, for example, they rarely get a red card because they've built this, this reputation about being so tactical. And it's kind of, I'm trying to like loop it back to the Madrid. They have this reputation about them in European football that they just always find a way. They always find a way. There's, Carlo Ancelotti, brilliant. I mean, we'll get to that game, but just there's just something about it that, um, you know, I'm excited to watch the two legs, but I'm nervous because I don't think I don't think it's gonna be an enjoyable watch. I think Arsenal is gonna take a page out of Atletico Madrid's book, and maybe not at the Emirates, but definitely at the Bernabeu, they're gonna sit in. They're gonna sit in and try to take on as much pressure as possible and play to their strengths, and rightfully so.
I
Um,
think that leads us nicely into our European roundup. I know we're gonna, touch on all the games individually, and we have an order in which to do it. But I think that's probably a good place to start. I think we start with the Real Madrid Atletico tie,
yeah.
and we have to start there, man. Like, there's many big games this week, obviously, but that's one of the biggest ones and one of the most controversial ones. Laurent, you made a point about the 12th man, and you've never been somebody who has seemed too convinced or impressed by Real Madrid. I remember me and you had a conversation at the beginning of the season when I told you that, they got Mbappe, and maybe I was, jumping the gun a little bit when I said, yeah, these guys just won the Champions League and now they've just got Mbappe, who was probably one of, if not the hottest player in Europe or the world at that time. Now the Champions League is going to be theirs to win for the next however many years, and nobody else stands a chance, sort of thing. It's like that, it's literally in basketball terms for our basketball listeners. It's like a Kevin Durant move. Golden State, who's already been the best team for however long, they go and get the best player, if not the second best player behind LeBron James in the league, and Kevin Durant now to go and build this dynasty. And it feels like Mbappe was kind of that kind of move. So I was saying to you at the beginning, like, yeah, man, it's now theirs to lose. I feel like this Champions League, and they already have that heritage. We saw it last night. That heritage and that European pedigree that has gotten them over the line time and time again. It almost felt inevitable that one way or another they were just going to find their way through. For someone like you who hasn't been convinced, I think I'd like to know your thoughts, because I think you're now finally seeing that, damn, these guys just always have that it factor that we all talk about. The it factor earlier in the year when, Liverpool beat them at Anfield and they weren't on form. I said, just wait. I said, Real Madrid always find their way. Eventually as the season progresses, they'll find their way and they'll just get better and better. And they've improved in the competition over time now. So, and your guys are out. Your Liverpool boys are out. They were one of the favorites as well. So Liverpool's out. Real Madrid's still going strong. What are your
Can you
thoughts?
say
Have they
that again?
impressed? Do
Can
you
you
think that they
wait
still have a
before you
chance to
pass
win
it
it?
to Laurent, CJ? Can you just say that again? Who's out?
Yeah, the mighty Liverpool FC and Mr. Arnie
Um,
Slot, best manager out there at the moment. But yeah, all jokes aside, man, I'm curious, Laurent, your thoughts on Real
uh,
Madrid. How do you feel about them right now?
Well, I mean, so I can't recall the term you used. Uh,
The
what?
it factor
Okay, yes, sorry. Yes, that. What was the it factor during that second leg?
during the second leg?
Yeah, during the second leg.
Just being clinical, essentially, I guess, when it comes to when it really mattered.
Okay, so I think so. The only goal of that game was the Connor Gallagher goal, first minute, right?
Correct.
Mhm.
27
And
seconds in.
then yeah, and then we go to PKs. Okay. Uh, they hit all the PKs. Funny enough, the PK that our boy Rudiger again, another Chelsea. You know what I mean? It's like it was rating Chelsea fucking yeah, like come on, man. That's like three Chelsea players one day, or sorry, 2 days, right? Yeah, you know what, Mehrdad, take grab a pillow, take a quick nap as I go over this, right? If you feel like you want to participate, but my point is this: is that that game, I think, was overall teams were pretty balanced. It went down to the wire. Um, Madrid did not score that game, right? Their lead came in the first game, which is fine. Now we go to penalties. In penalties, usually I think at that point, right, it's like really anything kind of goes, right? Uh, I'm not discrediting the fact that players still have to go and take the PKs, right? It's a high pressure environment, right? Lots at stake. So yeah, there is that clinical aspect that does come into play with that. Um, but now this is where it gets very interesting. It's that VAR call, right? That
Hmm.
took place. Okay. Was he the first kicker? I don't recall.
No.
No,
No, so he was not the first kicker. What position was he? Second or third?
I think
might have been second or third.
I think he's
Second or
third.
third.
I'll fact check it right now. Give me one sec.
Okay. But essentially, right, he took his kick and it got rescinded, right? It got annulled. Now, I don't know if you guys seen this, but apparently Messi did the same something similar where it hit off
Mhm.
his foot in the World Cup. There was no VAR there. But VAR was well in place at that time, I believe, right?
He was second, sorry.
Mhm.
Second, okay. So it's very hard because yeah, their PK takers, they did what they had to do, right? Score the ball. But on the other hand, right, you have something like that happen, and to me, I feel like it's it kind of it kills momentum for that team as well, right? You see a guy that took their PK, it went in, and then suddenly now VAR and no goal, right? Now it's like all this pressure on the next players to then go. And I think even the next guy, was it Lorente?
Lorente was the last kick and he missed it, yeah.
Okay, so he missed his.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then he missed, right? So to me, it could have been a game where Real Madrid could have easily as lost, because you know what I mean? Like they could have
Yeah.
easily as lost. So when you see that it factor,
Could have,
I w
could have.
yeah, yeah, could have, would have, should have, right? Uh, Obviously. Um, I think it it was not one of those games where I can honestly say that it was that thing that you're talking about that got them over the line. I do think that decision, that PK decision, played some part in the kicks that followed for Atletico, right?
Well,
It's unfortunate. Yeah, go on.
no, I was just gonna sorry to cut you off. I just want to get both of your guys to say. Do you think that was an overstretch by VAR?
Well, that's where I was going with this, Laurent. Like you're talking about the penalty, you're talking about that decision. I'm going to ask
Hmm.
you the question: was it correct or not? Was it the correct decision or was it not the correct decision? Because I'll tell you this much: you're right about the Messi thing in the final. They didn't
Hmm.
flag it,
Hmm.
whatever. Doesn't mean that we're using that as a precedent set, and I get it, whatever. But it doesn't take away from the fact that it's still actually the right call. If you really deep it and look at it, and we all take our bias out of it, and we all just look at it purely, he did touch the ball twice. I stand by that. I do see it. Diego Simeone said what he said in the press conference. Put your hand up if you see, anyone here saw it. Blah blah blah. But with the benefit of VAR that's now in the game, it wasn't used in the final. That's a whole separate matter altogether. But if that's what we're using VAR for, and if we're being technical, he did technically take that too. You do see it come off his foot a little bit. And in my opinion, you could have a different view, but I think it's there to see. If you see it on replay, it does slightly come off of his second foot. Then it becomes a question: does it alter the trajectory? Is that the reason why it's lifted and elevated in that roof of the net? Who knows? But what I think is the fact of the matter is, we're talking about the call and that fact that it was controversial. But I think what is not controversial and what is actually a fact is that it did come off his second foot, even if it's in the
Can I
slightest,
pick your
even if it
brain
was
for a
grazed.
second? Then can I pick your brain for a second? Arsene Wenger's sorry to cut you off, Laurent, because I know the question was posed to you, but Arsene Wenger's discussion around offside rules, right? He said the offside rules, the intention was never for it to be like millimeters, centimeters. Yes, if you go by letter of the law, right? The offside rule was like if you're offside, you're offside. Like if you can see it with the naked eye, you're offside, right? So then, if we're gonna go by the letter of the law for everything, then don't you think that we're taking away from the beauty of the sport? Because I do agree with you. I think when I kept rewatching the replays, I think there was a very slight touch. But I think what the intention of the rule was that you can't like run up past like knock it and then not like score to like get the keeper to like jump one way and then you have an empty net. Like he just slipped, right? And kind of bringing it to the offside rule, it's like we're like VAR, especially in the Premier League, we're taking away goals for sorry for saying it, for someone's butt being too big and being in an offside position. Like how is it that if I'm facing my goal and my ass is in an offside position, then I'm offside? How does that even make sense? Why are we taking away goals for that? That's not what the intention of the rule was. Is it a clear and obvious mistake? No. I still have to fully turn around, receive the ball, and then finish, right? So that's my only argument. Do I think that it, by the letter of the law, is it correct? 100%. 100%. But I do think it's an like what the intention of VAR was and where it's going down, I think is just ruining the game. And this game, like to be honest with you, the only it factor that I will agree with you is that after that goal and playing in the Metropolitano, which we talked about when we had the breakdown in the last pod, like we knew it was going to be like a crazy atmosphere. And the it factor for me for Real Madrid was after they scored in the 27th second of the game, they were able to calm things down. They were able to play with their backs up. They didn't let the moment get too big for them, right?
That's a good point.
That's the it factor that I think Real Madrid have. They never get worried. They never get concerned. They're always like, okay, we've been here before. Let's just keep playing our game. Let's just keep playing our game. Let's keep trying to break them down. Let's keep trying to break them down. That's the it factor that Real Madrid have. That unfortunately, even this iteration of Barcelona, I don't think they have. I think if you push them enough, I don't think Barcelona has that. That it factor is what Inter Milan has because they have that sheer experience. And there's just something about Madrid. I don't know if it's just ingrained in the way that their training is, whether it's Carlo Ancelotti or the fact that you still have Dani Carvajal and Luka Modric there. But that's the it factor for me that took them over the line. VAR decision, all that stuff aside, all the when you saw the faces of the Atletico Madrid players walking up to take the penalty, they had that nervous energy. Whereas when you saw like, you know, the Real Madrid players, they're just like, oh, just give me the ball, let me put it in the back of net. Very nonchalant.
Mbappe, Jude Bellingham.
Just
Did you
nonchalant.
see Jude, bro? Jude, I know we're shifting gears a little bit, bro. Did you see Jude Bellingham? His character and his mentality, like that's a player you want in your team every day
Yeah.
of the week, bro.
Yeah.
Like some of those guys, just they're not phased, bro. Jude is a guy, I'm telling you. Like the way he was cussing even Vinny Jr. before Vinny came off that tackle that he made late in the game,
Yeah.
in extra time or whatever. I think it was extra time. It's like, yo, most people don't have like the balls to talk up to Vinny like that, a Ballon d'Or candidate. But there Jude is, giving him shit. He doesn't care who it is, like after. Here's another thing about the it factor, Laurent, too. Like, yes, you're talking about momentum and what VAR rescinding that call could have done for Atletico and how it ruined the momentum. Real Madrid missed a penalty in regular time. Vinny missed that penalty. That didn't really that didn't change their momentum or their trajectory. You see Jude Bellingham right away after Vinny missed the pen. Jude is like this, bro. It's cool. We'll go again. It's fine. Not a problem. Whereas a lot of other teams, a lot of their players, and I hate to say it, I've seen it in my own club with Arsenal. Something like that happens. You miss a pen. Look at the FA Cup, Mehrdad, when Arsenal
Yep.
got knocked out to United. Odegaard
Yep.
misses that pen, and it's like it almost felt like the game was lost from then.
Yep.
Like there's just some players and some clubs and some teams and some coaches. Real Madrid is that prime example of a club and a team, and where it's like not much phases them. They went to the Metropolitano and they came out going to the quarterfinals. Not Atletico. One way or another, they got the job done. So yeah, I think we're kind of both aligned, Mehrdad, on what we're saying about Real Madrid and their it factor. But
just to come back to your
Laurent,
question,
yeah,
Laurent, what's your take on it with the pen and what I said about Vieira? What's your take? I'm very curious because I would say out of the three of us, you're a little bit more level-headed in this stuff and less emotional about it. But I'm curious to hear your take.
No, I definitely I agree. Funny enough, right? Technically, right? Even when I do look at the replay, right? It does look like it does come off the other foot, which would then, right, require the appropriate call to be made. And yeah, you made a good point in terms of right, what's the intent behind what these rules are for? Because you're right? It's like you have this rule, and now you can start being technical almost to the letter, right? To the point where it's like, yeah, you're just, well, what's the point now? Like, if we're really going to go into that level of specifics, right? And it just kills the game as well, right? I think someone mentioned it last week, but now you even see this: a player scores, and he has to stop, look behind, right? First, he's looking for the linesman. Does the linesman have his flag up, right? No. But then now he's looking behind to see whether or not the guy's going to do this.
Yeah, or
You
the
see what I'm
ref
saying?
is looking at his watch or something, or holding his ear.
Yeah, yeah. And then so it kills his celebration, like his right. And then now we're all waiting. And then as soon as they point, oh, it's a goal, and now it's like almost like a second celebration kind of thing, right? So yeah, no, I agree. But all I'm saying is, man, for something like that, you got to be consistent, right? No way you call that here and then you don't call that in the World Cup. That's like the biggest, right? It's the biggest tournament. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it's unfortunate. And yeah, it's like you guys said, Madrid came in. Real Madrid came in and yeah, they did what they had to do. But damn, Oblak, you should have saved that one from
yeah,
goal.
yeah.
That
Oh.
that right there is
Yeah.
I can't understand that one, man.
Yeah.
Like you had that, man. But
And that's a
yeah,
top class keeper, man. Like that's one of the best keepers in the world, they say. Like that's
yeah,
yeah, it's crazy.
yeah.
Um, let's move on to a couple games before we get into the other big game. Villa, they just
Hmm.
cruised past Club Bruges. Bruges went down to 10 men. They won 3-0 on the night, 6-1 on aggregate. Again, the only
Asensio again.
yeah, that you literally just took it out of my mouth. I was gonna say again, it keeps, and I know I've harped on this a couple times. Why Arsenal did not go and just get Asensio on loan? I'm just gonna leave it there. We've already spoken about this. So we can talk about it till our face goes blue. There's not much else to say about it. If I was PSG, I would be a little bit worried because I think Unai Emery is a world class coach like Luis Enrique. I think PSG overall is better, but I wouldn't count out Villa because I think there's just something that Unai knows
Yeah,
about like
yeah.
European nights
It's
and
his former
stuff.
club too.
Yeah. So just putting that out there. Am I saying that PSG is going to lose to them? No. But do I think it's going to be a one-sided draw that everyone's predicting right now? Absolutely not. I think it's going to be very close. Um, Lille sucks, man. Lille come up short against Dortmund. Canadian boy, shout out Jonathan David. He scored again. He's a free agent. Like again, why couldn't we just get him in January? But anyways, yeah, Leo move on. Um, sorry, Dortmund move on to face Barca. That's going to be a huge matchup for them. They haven't looked convincing at all, Dortmund. From the Dortmund teams that we're used to seeing with Jurgen Klopp, like this iteration Dortmund, like they don't they're I don't know. They look weird.
Wait,
Like
but isn't
Emery,
this practically the same Dortmund that went to the finals though?
yeah, but compared to like the way that they played when they went to the finals and now, they just
Mm,
like it's almost like they're they're in like gear two and they're trying to move up to gear three, but they're stuck. I don't know. It was weird watching the game.
mm.
Um, but Jonathan David, like the goal that he scored should have never gone in. It was the weakest goal I've ever seen in my life. Like it literally rolled through the keeper's legs. Like bro, put your damn leg down. Like what are you doing? It was the weakest goal. But shout out Jonathan David continues his scoring streak. Munich. I thought this one was going to be closer, but Munich just absolutely wrecked Leverkusen. 2-0 on the night, 5-0 on aggregate. Face Inter
Hmm.
Milan at home on the first leg. Is this Harry Kane's like well, he's probably going to win the Bundesliga, but is Harry Kane going to do the double?
Stop this.
Bro, he scored again. He scored again. Harry. Oh man, but yeah, that was just Leverkusen had nothing left. They were done.
That's
Uh,
going to be a good tie. Bayern Inter.
yeah, yeah, and Inter take care of business. 2-1 on the night, 4-1 on aggregate. Um, Marcus Thuram, like I know we're talking about Shesko, Gyökeres, Isak, but Marcus Thuram like quietly has been like some of the places that he pops up. And the runs that he makes, like he's a very dynamic forward. And I know I'm pretty sure he worked with Thierry Henry in the summertime. I think he did like a camp with Thierry Henry. They were talking about it during the league phase of the Champions League. Um, I'm not saying that I would want him over like an Isak because Isak has proven in the Premier League, but Marcus Thuram, like he scored again. He scored in both legs. He's he's popping up with goals. He's pushing Lautaro Martinez to the bench in some games. Um, but yeah, their experience, like that's going to be a tough, tough tie for Bayern Munich. Like Inzaghi versus Company, the experience from Inter Milan versus Bayern. That's going to be one to watch. That's going to be a very, very fun watch.
I believe that if Bayern goes through, I don't think the manager is gonna have that much. I think it's gonna be the players that come out for him in that case. Because I think that the experience between the two managers
Yeah,
is just like it's the gap is too wide.
it's huge.
Yeah,
It's huge.
where yeah
Inzaghi is brilliant, man.
yeah.
What he's
So
doing with some of the players, he's brilliant. He's
mm.
he's absolutely brilliant. Um, talking about I think we were talking about the Ballon d'Or a little bit earlier. Rafinha,
He's
he
balling out,
is
eh?
he is like so this year, Champions League, 10 matches, 11 goals, 5 assists. Let me just say
Jeez, yeah.
11 goals, 5 assists. Okay. La Liga, 26 games, 13 goals, 7 assists. Like we're talking about Vinny, we're talking about like Jude, like what
We're not talking about Salah.
sure no, we're talking about Salah too, but like no, but I'm just talking about La Liga. The conversation always Vinny, Jude,
Mm.
Mbappe. Obviously the Prem. Yeah, we're gonna include Salah as well. But like Rafinha, dude, this like coming from Leeds, I would have never expected this. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh. But CJ, did you ever see him doing something like this?
Yeah, he's finally come to the party in a in a Barca kit. And I was going to say, touching on Brazil, is that me being a big Brazil fan when it comes to the international tournaments, it's like he doesn't do this for Brazil. He hasn't really done this for Barca prior to the season. He's been there a couple of years now. And it's just like this year, he's just snapped. He just elevated his game and he's just turned up on everybody. And that the Champions League statistics that you mentioned, what is it, 11 goals and 5 assists? Like that rate,
In
like
10
I don't even think you
games.
played. I was gonna say I don't even think you played even 11 Champions League games up to this point. So that's like a goal. That's at a rate of a goal a game. Like that is crazy consistency.
Yeah.
You know, And some of the
And
goals he's scoring too, like these are
it's
bangers. Like,
yeah. And where he's popping up for the goals and the fact that he's like coming off the wing and him and Lamine Yamal are playing or just feeding off each other. Like, I mean,
hmm,
in a good sense, like it's opened the door for Nico Williams to come to Arsenal because I think if
I was gonna
Rafinha
say that.
wasn't doing this, I think Nico Williams would have ended up in
Yeah, yeah,
Arsenal. I'm like saying Barca, Arsenal at the same time. But um, but Rafinha is killing it. Like he's killing it. Just watching
yeah,
that game, just watching that tie, watch the entire game, and like their clash just came through. It was just different levels to it, man. It was just different levels. And Benfica, they lost their chance in the first leg when
yep,
Barca
for
went down.
sure.
And this leg, it was just game over. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly touch on Rafinha because I don't think he gets enough love across Europe because he's been balling out.
Yep.
Now, hey Laurent, you gotta have your head up for this
Sheesh.
one. You gotta have your head up for this one.
This is a big one. A big one here, boys. Talk
Arne
about it.
Slot. Na 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 na. Liverpool, the mighty Anfield. So, Laurent, what's your take? I'm not gonna even speak. What is your take? What went wrong from the greatest coach the Premier League has ever seen?
Ha, damn, yeah, that's when I know you're yeah, whatever you're drinking. Yeah, I know it's not water. But I mean to explain that, mm, uh that was a hard one, man. I think even just watching, for one, because the player that I think great is a high contender for the Ballon d'Or trophy. Mo Salah did not show up in that game.
Both legs.
Uh,
He did not show up. Let's just put it out there. Both legs.
yeah, no, yeah, yeah, both legs. And for me, despite the season that you've had, right, which is right, a phenomenal season.
One of the greatest years in the Premier League ever. Like he's gonna
hmm
match Thierry Henry. Let's just be honest.
hmm Um, but in terms of like the players that are known, right, it's the players that show up in the big games. Um, and he didn't do that. Now, why? Who knows? Uh, Liverpool did have their chances, second game, more than they did the first. It was to me on both sides. I think it was a fairly you could argue, right, that especially when you look at the extra time, that's where you could say that PSG did edge out Liverpool as somehow, some way, PSG did take control over that extra time, which to me was what surprised me the most because Liverpool did have the momentum,
Hmm.
and suddenly that flipped in extra time, and I honestly believe that had that not happened, I think this game would have not went to penalties and Liverpool would have managed, right? But
I
they just
agree.
they got neutralized. Um, and yeah, no, so it's unfortunate. I think I mean, if we're talking Arnie Slot, right? It's good experience for him, in my opinion, right? You play a game at that level, you go down to the wire, right? And being able to assess, right, what you could have done differently, or maybe what you could have done to get more out of your players, right? In that circumstance.
I I
Go
think
on.
PSG, what they did is what other European teams and what Arsenal has yet to do. Silence Anfield. And that's what PSG did, and I think that's what got them over the line. I think it was was it CJ, was it last 2 year was it 2 years ago? Was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago um when Arsenal went to Anfield and Xhaka made that tackle and then Arteta got into it with Klopp and that's when Anfield woke up and then that's when the players started going and that's when the momentum completely shifted and we were up. I think we were up 2-0. That's what I
So
think
yeah, it was
PSG
two
did well.
seasons ago. Yeah, when Xhaka did that, I remember what you're referring to in the black kits when we had a
Yes,
chance
yes.
to win the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, and you know, listen, obviously, like as an Arsenal fan, I'm super happy that Liverpool's out because they're having one of the craziest seasons. But for me, and I said this before we started recording, like it was tough to watch Salah get. There's no other way to put it, but he got dominated by Nuno Mendes over two legs. He did have his opportunities in the second leg to, he had a couple. I think he had one shot off the bar, um, and Nuno Mendes saved one. He had an empty net that Mendes popped out of nowhere and blocked it. But it was hard to watch. I didn't I never imagined Mohamed Salah being shut down like that. Um,
I feel like he was a bit timid, in my opinion.
yeah, that's actually a good way of putting it.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Where it's especially if you're that player, right, and you're noticing the game is right, it's dragging, right, nothing's happening. It at that point you're looking to create some magic, right, some spark to even right if Enfield's not waking up, right, you're causing them to wake up, right, from something you do, a move or something, right? But I think yeah, he was at that point. I think you got to be more selfish, also, right? He still has the legs to do those runs, right? And I didn't feel like he attempted any of that, right? Always looking for the pass, right? To his players, right? That are they themselves making the runs, and I think in my opinion, that's what didn't get him engaged to the level that we're used to seeing Mo
Mhm.
Salah get engaged, right? Or players of that stature, right? Where you've seen Dembele, on the other hand, right? He's looking to take the guys on, right? He's doing these things, and that just over the course of 90 minutes or however long you play, it just it gives you that confidence, right? Yeah, but yeah, unfortunate. And then PK's yet again, and yeah, no,
Can we
it's
just,
sad,
I
man.
want to come
Mhm.
back to your question a couple weeks ago when you said, is
Mm.
it the coaches or the players? When you know your player has zero confidence, why on earth is he taking the penalty? And I'm alluding to Nunez. When he picked up the ball and he was walking, I'm like, he's missing. I texted my cousin, I said, he's missing. Like, why would Saul put him in that position?
I assume because he probably said, "Yeah, I got this," you know. Nunez looked up to his coach and was like, "Yeah, I will take it." Um,
Yeah, I don't, it was,
and I think the
yeah.
coach when he sees that, right? I mean, he's a striker, right? He's trying to prove himself as well, right? What are the options? Right? Who else is gonna take it? So but yeah, no, it's unfortunate. Um,
CJ, our January target, Bradley Barcola. Wow. He's when Cavaskillia came, he was almost on the way out, and he decided to stay. And like he means business, man. Playing across the front three, just rotating with Dembele and Cavaskillia, but and his driving runs, like that's what I want Martinelli to do. Like just take the player on. Um, I don't know
Mm.
what was your take of the game? Like, how what was your analysis of it? Because I know there's some other talking points that we'll get to when we're breaking down the Carabao Cup tie, but
Yeah, a few interesting points from this one, honestly. The first one being, I want to kind of touch on what Laurent was saying about, justifying essentially Nunes taking the penalty. For me as a coach, like when it comes to penalties, I've never subscribed to this thing that coach got to pick the players and whoever the coach thinks is the right player. Like it's one thing to do tactics in game. It's one thing to set a lineup or to make a decision in game or you know what I mean. But for PKs, I feel like PKs is just all about mentality and who wants to take one. Like PKs is all mental. You can be the best and most skillful player in the world. I've seen, whether it's guys that I've played alongside or guys that I've watched at the professional level, I've seen the most skillful players refuse to take a penalty out of fear because, as we all know, penalties is just strictly, mental. It's high stakes, high pressure. There's so much riding on whether you make or miss the kick that talent goes completely out the window. It's one spot kick from 12 yards out, right? It's all about mentality at that point and who wants to take one. So if Darwin Nunes, if they're all huddled in that circle and Darwin Nunes puts his hand up as one of the five, confidently, chest out, says, I want this PK, like, who are you as a coach to kind of be like, oh shit, well, no, not you. Because again, there's better players on the pitch who are technically better in that 11 who are probably shy or, are
yeah,
showing that little bit of timidness to be like, I don't know if I want one because again, mental, right? It's all mental PKs. So if he
yeah.
wanted one and he misses, again, we don't know that for a fact, but let's say, for the sake of argument, that he wanted the pen and he misses. I'm not blaming the coach for that because it was his decision
Yeah.
to want to take the pen. He said, "Give me the ball. I want to be one of the five." And he missed it. So you're confident enough to want it, then you got to make your bed and lay in it. I don't think that falls on anybody else, not the coach, not anybody else, but yourself. So I think that's that one about Darwin. So yeah, a lot of people saying, "Oh, Darwin is poor. He misses so many big chances, this and that," and then putting it on the coach. I don't think that would be right per se if Darwin actually stepped up to the
Mm.
plate. Now, if Slot said, "You're one of my five," and told him outright, that's a different story. I always think as a coach, if I'm taking my team to penalty shootouts, my first question is, okay, who wants one? I'm not selecting guys out of a hat. I'm not picking, okay, maybe you because you might be good for this angle and this technique. No, none of that. Strictly mental. Who wants this PK? If I don't see five hands go up, then yeah, I have a decision to make, and kind of you got to select strategically. But that's the first thing you got to ask is like, who wants this right now?
Mm.
Because it's strictly mental. So that's my quick point on the PKs. And then the other thing I wanted to just touch on quickly in the game was um, just my impressiveness with or how impressed I've been over with PSG over the course of the two legs. Laurent said he was confident in saying before the tie that in the first leg even that Liverpool would win by two clear goals. And it's crazy now that we're sitting here, a couple of weeks later, and Liverpool is at home, and PSG is now the team advancing, and they've been really impressive. Like I think they caught a lot of us off guard and a lot of us by surprise. I don't think many of us expected that.
No.
And that's one thing we said in the group chat this week is, coaching, man. Like this is where maybe Laurent's point about coaching having a lot of impact, it may be valid in that sense because I'm putting PSG's turnaround strictly down to coaching. To be honest, like not just this season, but the PSG's of the past, where it's all been talent and the Messis and the Neymars and the Mbappe's. This season is showing. Luis Enrique said, "I don't need a star. I don't need a superstar. I'm going to work with what I have, who are still talented players, mind you. But he's found the jigsaw puzzle to put these guys all together and make them perform. And what he's doing with this team, without an out and out Mbappe type superstar in it, is actually it's amazing. And they're playing good football. Like let's not get it twisted. They're playing good football. They have midfield ballers, Vitinha and them guys. And he's getting a tune out of all those players. So I respect it massively. And I think he's humbled Liverpool and he's shown Europe, everybody is on the lookout now for this PSG side because they're playing some good stuff. It's not just the League One tax, or the League One tax, as we're saying. This is legit. Like PSG's coming to play right now. So let's see, man. It's looking
He
good for them.
they humbled Van Dijk after the first leg when he said to the sporting director, "This isn't League On."
Mm.
After that penalty shout, just putting it out there, putting it out there. All right, let's move on to the secondary and tertiary leagues in Europe. United, like I watched that entire game. Three of the softest penalty calls I've ever seen in my life. Um, for there's two for United, one for Sociedad. Really, really soft calls. Um, and they also got a red card, which I mean, it was just a weak red card. It was similar to the Saliba one at Bournemouth, but the difference being that the second defender was closer than what Ben White was to Saliba. But United, hey, they took their chance, they took their opportunity. 1-4-1. Bruno Fernandes, two penalties. He also scored in open play, and Diego Dallo scored the fourth one. They move
Bruno
on.
hat trick.
Yeah, yeah, Bruno hat trick. Yeah.
Mm.
But they started off the back foot, I believe,
Yep,
that
yep,
game.
yep.
That's they got to stop doing that, man. Like,
Yeah, they make it hard for themselves. They make it hard for themselves. But I mean, when you're playing a midfield of Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro, as good as Casemiro was when he was in Madrid, he's got no legs. Like
mm,
he's got no legs. You can't. And Bruno's not number six. He's a number 10. But he's doing a job. Hey, put my hand up. I hate him. I hate him as a person, but as a footballer, I I,
bro,
I
you know
still
the guy? Like,
no, just I just
people
I just hate
people
his
say
face,
that.
bro. I fucking hate his face. He looks like a rat. But he's the only United player over the last 2-3 years that I can genuinely say would make it into Fergie's team.
Mm,
So, but anyways, they move on. They're facing Leon, and old Arsenal man Alexander Lacazette. It's a tough draw. Um, if they can get past that, they'd be facing either one of Rangers or Athletic Bilbao. Um, Rangers upset Jose Mourinho on penalties. But United got a tough path to the finals, whereas Nando's FC they survived against AZ Alkmaar. Again, for those of you who don't know who I'm referring to, I'm talking about Spurs, the little brother in North London. Ange survives. He said it a couple months back. He said, my second year I always win a trophy, and he's he's got an easier draw if he can get past Frankfurt, which is who they're facing next. They got Bodo Glimt and Lazio, and again, no disrespect to Lazio, Bodo Glimt, but when you look at the other side, Lyon, Athletic Bilbao, and Rangers, I think Spurs have an easier way to the final if they get past Frankfurt. Um, but yeah, even Spurs, man, even Spurs, like they gave up a goal. It was so hectic the last 20 minutes of the game when I was watching. They don't know how to hold the lead. Like if you make them nervous, they have an error in them. But I do have to say, as much as I hate saying it, Vicario is actually he's actually a decent keeper. Like some of the saves that he's made and the difference that he makes for that back line, knowing that they have that type of class keeper behind them. Like, no disrespect to Fraser Forster, but like, Vicario is next level. Um, and then Laurent, you want to take this? Your boys squeeze their way past Copenhagen 1-0. 3-1 on aggregate. And again, do you know who they're facing next?
I haven't checked that. No,
Hmm.
no, I haven't checked that. No.
Liga Warzawa, Polish team.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know who that is.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know who that is?
Where are they in their league, by the way? Can you tell me what their standing is in their league?
Bro, I couldn't even tell you where freaking Juve standing is, or
Yeah,
like,
okay. Yeah, okay.
come on, man. Like,
But yeah, Chelsea look like they've locked down um the conference league. The real, and again, not to disrespect any of the other teams on there, their only real competition is Real Betis or Fiorentina, which is on the other side of the bracket. Um, I mean, if they get knocked out by these teams that I've never heard of before, um, you better not show up to the pod, Laurent. That's all I gotta say.
I'm be here, bro. I'm be here.
Oh shit. Um, this weekend we got a couple big games. Um, let's start off with Liverpool Newcastle Carabao Cup. Trent Alexander-Arnold is ruled out with an ankle injury. Konate apparently is fit to play. He just had cramps. Who do you guys have? Who do you guys have winning the first trophy of the year?
I'll let you go first.
Laurent. Oh, me. Okay. I think it's pretty simple. I don't really have too much time to think on that one. I'm gonna say that's Liverpool's. Obviously, it's football. It could be wrong, but sitting here today, I'm pretty confident that Liverpool will win. Yes, Trent is out. They also have Anthony Gordon out. So similarly enough, they both play on the same side, so it kind of cancels each other out. Like Gordon would have been going up against the Trent at right back, coming from that left wing. But again, they don't have Gordon. But now Liverpool don't have Trent, so that one kind of cancels each other out. But then Liverpool still has. I think they'll still have too much quality for them at the end of the day. Newcastle's got your Bruno Guimaraes and your Alexander Isak's big time players, but I think especially after the week that Liverpool had, we were talking about this before we started recording that this sort of momentum it could maybe scupper Liverpool and their hopes of because from what looked like a potential trouble, and we've seen this from them before, where it looks like they're going to win all the trophies to faltering and only maybe winning one or kind of falling short on a few occasions. I think this one will still fuel them, even though they got knocked out of the Champions League this week. So I don't really know if that's going to ruin their momentum. I don't think it will ruin their momentum. They're going to be fueled. Salah was pissed. You can see that on the field. His emotions showed after the game. And yeah, they're big time players, man. Van Dijk and them, like they're experienced enough to bounce back from this, and they'll know that okay, we have a chance at a trophy now. We're in a cup final. I think they're going to be hungry to go out, and I think they'll have too much for Newcastle.
Laurent?
I agree. Um, yeah, I see it through the same lens. For me, I go one step further, and if I'm Arnie Slot, I'm fuming. I am absolutely fuming. At this stage, um, I wouldn't necessarily be upset against my players, but just at the fact that I kind of like I let this one go.
Mm.
Um, in a game where we could have played better, we could have done this, we could have did that, and I would not want the same thing to happen within the span of what, like a week. So I'm doing everything right to make sure my players are ready. That when they show up, it is back to business.
Mm.
Truly, right? Just back to winning, right?
Mm.
So yeah, and I think the players are going to share in the same sentiment. Because yeah, no, that to me, any player on that squad, right? I assume if we were on that squad, right, it's like you don't want to lose like two big games like that in a
Of
week,
course.
right?
Yeah.
It's not good. Funny enough, right? Losing, I think if you lose that game too, it can actually affect your
The
the
rest of the
what's
year.
left. Yeah, your rest of the year, right? Um, so no, to me, I think they're gonna have that extra drive compared to Newcastle, and that's gonna take them over the line come Sunday. Yeah,
I got Newcastle. I think losing to
because you
Liverpool.
don't like Arnie Slot, just say the damn thing.
No, I don't think it's the fact that I don't like Arne Slot. I think I just think coming off that loss against PSG, the way the amount of emotion that it took out of the team,
Mm,
I think Newcastle is the team that fuels themselves off of emotion. We've seen it against Arsenal, and we've seen it when Arsenal was fighting for the top four. Do I think it's going to be a decisive Newcastle win? Absolutely not. I think it's going to be close, but I do think Newcastle nicked the first goal, and I think Liverpool chased the entire game. Um, and I think Newcastle squeeze it out and they win their first trophy over what, like 50, 60 years or something. Um, I don't know. I just have a weird feeling about it. Even if Konate plays, like how fit is he really? Do they have to substitute and go to an Endo? And if it's Endo versus Isak, and I know Anthony Gordon's not there, but Joao Kwanzaa isn't really a right back. And the last time when Joao Kwanzaa played right back, it was at St. James's Park, and that was that 3-3 thriller, the beginning part of the season. So there's tactics as that I think Arne Slot's going to have to figure out. But I think in a cup final and the amount of emotion that it took out of him and the team, I think it leaves an opening for Newcastle. If we're talking about class of players, 100% Liverpool has better players. But I just think there's something about this Newcastle team that they know that if they win trophies, if they get into the Champions League, they can actually start spending the owner's money. And I think that is going to give them a slight edge. But again, I might be wrong. You never know what's going to happen, but I got Newcastle for this.
Hmm.
Um, Man City. Man City welcome Brighton, who's 1 point behind them, fighting for the top four spot. Um, it's going to be a good game. Going to be a big battle for top four. Um, João Pedro, Marmoush, Holland, um, and Brighton. After that spanking that they got from Bournemouth, was it Brighton? Yeah, after that spanking that they got from Bournemouth, or sorry, they got it from Newcastle. Newcastle, Nottingham Forest. They've been on a win streak, like 7 games in a row, I believe.
mm,
Um, so they've had some big results. I mean, they beat
yeah.
Chelsea, they beat Southampton, they beat Bournemouth, they beat Fulham, they beat Newcastle. Like that's not an easy game. So I'm definitely going to tune into that one. Um, Spurs Spurs head to Craven Cottage to face Fulham. Again, coming off a good result for them against AZ Alkmaar, moving on to the next round. I think they're going to try to look to just um, their mid-table. It doesn't really matter. Prem doesn't really matter for them anymore. But I think Ange Postecoglou is going to try to get them up for this game and make sure that they make a statement before going on the international break. Um, and lastly, before we get to the Chelsea breakdown, Manchester United. Again, dominant victory versus Sociedad, and then they faced the relegation battling Leicester. Do we give Leicester any chance in this game, or is it just going to be, Ruud van Nistelrooy just getting dominated by his old team?
Leicester's at home.
Yeah, haven't won in five.
Honestly, I still think United might actually scrape a win, but it'd probably be by like one goal or something, like a 2-1 or like a 1-0. Like I can see Man U, if they do win, like stumbling over the line.
Yeah, I mean they won the
But
fourth
still,
time.
they're still not impressive, Man United. They're
Yeah,
still not that impressive of a
yeah.
side.
They faced each other Feb 7th in the FA Cup. United scraped out a 2-1 victory, so
Yeah.
um, you're bang on with that assessment. And now, drum roll, please. Penalty Merchant FC versus the real team of London.
Corner FC. Corner.
Um, so Chelsea's looking to keep their top four hopes alive, sitting on 49 points. Arsenal, I think there's different levels to this. Enzo Maresca, Arteta, there's different levels. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to
Wait, wait,
hear
wait.
both your-
I
Yeah,
mean, what was the last result when we played?
the last result.
Yeah, what was the last result when we played?
1-1.
Yeah, yeah. So clearly we're Maresca and your boy Arteta are on the same level as far as results go, right? Um, yeah, no, you fact checking that?
Do
I
we
mean, we
do
already
we
fact checked it for you, but yeah, you can take your time and
I'm just scrolling back. I'm just scrolling back to see Pedro Neto scored in the 70th minute. I'm just looking back at
this
just kind
guy's
of the
gonna look to see
stats.
if we scored up a peak here or not. Bro, the score was 1-1. Just leave it at that.
Um, yeah, you just why are you getting nervous? Why? Because you know penalty merchant FC.
No, I'm not getting nervous, but you're gonna try to do some kind of dark voodoo embellishment magic to try to like,
Oh
like,
shit. Anyways, moving on to this dark voodoo nonsense. What do you guys think? Tell me, what do you think? You think Marco Correa is gonna score his fifth goal? Correa.
Yo,
oh man,
holy smokes! Oh,
yo.
I'm dying. Yo.
Honestly, I feel like honestly speaking, I think it's gonna be a tight game.
Bring your mic up. Bring your mic up a
Oh,
little
my
bit.
bad. Yeah,
There
sorry.
you
No, as I was saying, honestly speaking, though, I do think it's going to be a tight game. Um, I don't think it's going to end in a draw, though. There's going to be a winner.
And
As
it's
to
gonna
who
be
that would,
Chelsea?
no, like I actually don't know. If I'm being completely honest, right?
Okay.
Like all bullshit aside, right? I actually don't know who's going to come out ahead. Um, I mean, it's like there's just so many variables that come into play with these two teams. You see what I'm saying? Like us, I can tell you, even if we do go up, I'm not comfortable. Right?
Wait,
Because
what do you mean if you go up?
if we go up a point, like
Like go
or
up
a
a
goal,
goal?
yeah, sorry, yeah,
Okay,
if we
okay,
go up a
okay.
goal,
Yeah.
I will not feel comfortable, right? In having that be the assurance that we're going to win the game, because I know that, right, we're not good at managing out, managing games. You guys, on the other hand, right? You guys have the ability to create those chances. Now the question becomes, well, can you put the ball in the back of the net, right? How many chances are you going to get? How many chances are we going to give you? Um, so it's like, yeah, like I think on both sides, right? Again, who are you guys going to play? You see what I'm saying? Who's going to be your
Well,
your your front
it's
three?
probably gonna be Yeri, Marino, Martinelli, or if Martinelli's feeling good, it might be Martinelli, Trossard, Yeri,
Mm.
and just
And
get them
then
to kind of rotate like that, right?
Wanyeri on the right side, right?
Yep. Yep. When you're in the right, Trossard down the middle because he's done that for Brighton in
Uh,
the past, and he's done that for Arsenal, and then Martinelli on the left.
and you know who's on our left side?
Do I know who's on your left side? Yeah.
Who?
And Cuckoo.
No. I'm saying like a few positions back.
Few positions back. The penalty
Yeah.
merchant?
No. So I think it'd be
Oh,
the
Cuckoo
yeah,
Cuckoo.
hey, there you go. So your boy won your right? Uh,
He's gonna eat him
well,
up. He's gonna eat him up.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. Who? Sorry, he's had some good performances. I can't remember, but he's faced some tougher point. Kukurea, yo, like as bad as he was, I think because the Kukurea you guys are referring to is the guy when he first came from Brighton, and he was under Graham Potter. That's the
Grandpata.
Kukurea, yeah, that you guys remember. You know, very shaky, but he got his act together very quickly. Like after that, when the other managers right started coming in, he started to perform. And I've seen this guy, man. Like he is a dog. Like no matter the winger, no matter the speed, he has the ability to recover. You know, he does not allow him. The only thing I would say is maybe he's not as strong physically,
Yeah.
but he allows his tenacity to kind of compensate for that in certain areas, right?
His confidence went through the roof after the Euros, and
Very true. Yeah.
um, the only like plaudit I'll give him is he was the best wing back in the Euros, hands down. Hands down, he's the best wing back at the Euros.
Mm.
Because
No, that's it.
what he did for Spain in the Euros is, in my opinion, I think he's one of the main reasons that they won. Outside of like Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal doing their thing up front, but in that back line and the way he opened it up for Nico Williams, he was a true wing back. And I think after that, he brought it into Chelsea, right?
Hmm.
Because you see where he pops up for Nkunku. Sometimes Neto plays on that wing. Like Sancho, the overlaps that he does with Sancho. So yeah, I'll give him his plaudits there. Um,
He's wrapped up, Laurent, to your point, he's wrapped up Saka a few times, to be fair,
yep.
when we played him. And it's pissed me off because Saka
Mm,
has done nothing against him on a couple occasions.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So,
Just
yeah, go on.
couple
Yeah.
couple key stats before we get into the prediction. So Arsenal are unbeaten in the last six Premier League games versus Chelsea, 4 wins, 2 draws. Longest run against them since a run of 19 between 1995 and 2005. Chelsea have lost their last two away games against Arsenal, going down 5-0 in the exact fixture last year. And then they lost three in a row in the league at the Gunners between 2001 and 2003. Um, since the start of the 2021-2022 season, Chelsea have only won three of their 19 Premier League games away against sides starting the day above them in the table. Drew three, lost 13. Wins at Fulham 2-0 in October 2023 and Tottenham 4-1 in November 2023 and Bournemouth 1-0 in September 2024. So stats don't look at their side. But again, it's a London derby. All this stat is meaningless. I think Chelsea's gonna get up for this game, and they're fighting for top four. I think they're gonna win the Conference League. They're gonna automatically get a qualification into Europa, but I think they want Conference League. So, um,
Brother, there's a question to be had that we're fighting for top four soon too. That could be a whole other freaking pod in
yeah.
itself. But if we don't get our act together, we could be dragged into this shit.
Yeah. Because if we lose, they go up to 52 points, and we're on 55, and then we're automatically in the top four battle.
Yeah,
So.
no, that's very true.
So, CJ, we'll start with you. What do you guys your prediction?
Damn.
Actually, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, CJ. You didn't even give us your breakdown. What is your breakdown of the game? I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. You know what? I've pretty much checked out of Premier League at this point, so I didn't really. I gave zero shits. Like I'm listening to both of you talk about it, and that's like I'm enjoying just the banter about it because me, I've lost the passion for the Premier League this season. At this point, unfortunately, where it's sad to say that when we're mid March and we have so many other games left to go, and at this point, I'm just hoping they all breeze by. Just going through the motions at this point because it's been disappointing in the Premier League. All I have to look forward to now as an Arsenal fan is Champions League football. And but yeah, so for me, this is just going to be another game, and let's hope we don't lose, as far as I'm concerned. But I have no confidence going into these games now in the Premier League because we don't have a striker. So it's hard for me to always, whether it's Leicester or Ipswich or Chelsea or Liverpool, it doesn't matter who it is. When we play in the Premier League nowadays, teams know how to match up against us, and we've struggled. We last week showed me, I almost got caught up in the PSV 7-1 win, and then we went to Man United and stunk out the place. So, you know what, for me in the Premier League at this point in time, it's like, let's just do what we got to do to get into a Champions League spot still, and go again next season. But yeah, man, it's hard to get up and enthused for these games. And like I said, when we go into all these games knowing that we don't have a striker, it's difficult. I find every game difficult, hard to predict. So what I will say is, though, in terms of prediction, I heard something the other day about how I think we picked up, what was it? Something like five, is it 5 wins in our last nine or something like that? Or 4 or 5 wins in our last nine in the Premier League. Like it's a bad run of form if you like do a big sample size of games in the last 9 or 10. And yeah, so it's hard for me to predict another draw again, but it's like that seems like to be where we're headed these days. It's hard for me to see where we're going to get a win against a good Chelsea side as well. Who, yeah, like you guys said, the Chelsea's going to be up for this for sure. So, prediction. I'm gonna say, oh man, Martinelli's back. I'm going to stick with my midweek prediction because I was close with the PSV one. So all that being said, I am going to try and predict an Arsenal win, and I'm going to say 2-1 to the Arsenal.
Laurent, what do you got your boys doing?
I'm gonna give it 2-1, but the other way.
Chelsea?
Yeah, Chelsea 2-1. Yeah.
I'm gonna say something controversial. 2-0 to the Arsenal. I don't think.
So you don't think we're gonna score even one?
I don't think you're gonna score one. I think the way, because when you're talking about the 1-1 draw at Stamford Bridge, I think the way that we drew that game, I think left a stench in Arteta's mouth, and the fact that we rested a lot of our players, and mind you, you guys did as well in the Conference League game.
Did they? They didn't go out strong in that game?
No, Chelsea against Copenhagen, no.
Yeah, no, we
I think you guys had if I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong. I'm just checking the lineup right now. Yeah. Caicedo, Enzo played, Sancho, Neto, Palmer didn't play.
No, he ended up playing second half.
Oh, he came on? Okay.
Yeah, second half.
So I mean, from that aspect, like the fact that Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo started, maybe the fatigue factor comes into it. But I think our defense right now is better than what Chelsea's offense is. I think if Nicholas Jackson was there giving you that aerial threat, maybe to be able to hold the ball up a little bit better, I would maybe say 2-1 like CJ said, and like with that. But yeah, I'm gonna go 2-0 to the Arsenal. Last thoughts, fellas. I'll leave the last word with you two. Don't all speak at once.
Yeah, no,
listen, man. I was just gonna say, like I said, y'all know I'm just super amped for Champions League at this point, and that's my main motivation left for the season. Let's see what happens with the Premier League going forward. But yeah, man, the Champions League is where it's at the moment, and we got the glamour tie in Real Madrid, which we're looking forward to, bringing more content to you guys when it comes to the quarterfinals. There's going to be a lot of content and a lot of discussion about Champions League and, the tie against Real Madrid when it rolls around. So stay tuned for that. I'm excited to talk about it. There's a lot we got to break down in terms of matchup. Arsenal haven't played Real Madrid since, the Henry days, 2006. Man, when Henry scored a worldie at the Bernabeu, obviously we don't have an Henry in our team now. So But let's see who steps up to the plate. And yeah, man, yeah, I can't wait to start breaking down that game more with you boys. And we're gonna talk more about it as it rolls around, and not just Arsenal, Real Madrid. There's some other juicy ties in there, like we said, Bayern, Inter, Villa, PSG. There's some good games coming up, and this is where the business end of the season in the Champions League. So looking forward to getting more discussion in on that. And yeah, we'll see how it progresses. We'll see how the rest of the Premier League progresses, but definitely more exciting stuff to come. So like and subscribe, as I always say. We'll be here.
All right, all right. Again, yeah, for those of you who didn't catch it the first time, hit the like and subscribe button, right? We take a pleasure in shooting these episodes, bringing this content to you guys, right? So we're just asking for the bare minimum. Other than that, tune in this weekend, Arsenal versus Chelsea. I think it's going to be a good game, overall. I mean, in terms of Chelsea, I think you'll see what Maresca is, going to try to build off for the season after that, right? So for you Chelsea fans who've been doubting, who've been actually chanting Maresca out at some point, yeah, speaking to you guys, stay tuned because I do sense that our result on Sunday will be convincing, and as well as our performance. And beyond that, Conference League, I have to say it since my team is in it. We're going for the fourth European title, so just make sure to tune into that. But yeah, that's all I gotta say.
On that bombshell, see you guys on Monday. Adios.
So yeah, that's a true fan, bro. You'd be too embarrassed to fucking even like mention the thing. You see what I'm saying?